close. Let me scooch that back a little bit. Trying to get my camera just right. I switched areas, but I haven't got all the kinks worked out exactly, but I think it'll be okay. I think that's probably okay. I'll back up a little so I don't scare you. Thanks. So I have a new backdrop. I went with a little more color. I actually meant to get blue, but the lighting was not amazing. And it has a little more purple in it than I thought. So we'll just embrace the purple. And hopefully I'll get my camera positioned better for the future. But for now, this is what we're doing. So we'll just go with it. I'm hoping I can get some sort of position so that just that wall is visible and not so much. I guess it's just going to be a weird one today. So I have some fun things planned today. So I will jump right in here pretty quick. I'll wait just 1 second. Hi, Gwen. Today we're going to be playing with the dies from this month. So what we are going to play with today is we are going to play with the Fancy Foliage dies. And we are going to play with some Speckled spring paper. And if I can make it happen, we are going to try to get 3 cards done. Another item that is pretty crucial to our designs today. I told you I kind of got caught by surprise with how much this camera was kind of giving me trouble. But we're also going to use the Simple Blends stencils. A stencil. This one's the circle one, of course. And so all 3 cards will use all 3 of those items. And they're all going to be pretty quick and simple. And I think pretty different from each other. Hopefully you think so too. And we're going to need our stick and stamp mat today. So let's get that going. Do you guys feel like there's enough light? I might have to adjust some lights in here too. Let me see if I can.
It looks fine.
It's okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Christina says I kind of look stunning.
Oh, thanks, Christina. It was definitely, I'll be completely honest, I am not too proud to admit, I went to the hardware store and I looked on the rack where they have all of the paint colors that didn't quite make it. So I was like, oh, that's kind of pretty. And I thought it was kind of a softer blue, but nope, it's purple. But I like purple. I'm a fan of purple, so it works for me. I'm gonna back this up because I think it's casting a shadow and that's bothering me. Ah, that made a big difference. Okay, I'm happier now. Okay, so here is the Speckled spring paper. And if you haven't had a chance to see this, it's really pretty. And I love all the unique patterns. There are some that are just more monochromatic. Then there's some that just have a little bit of sprinkling in it. And then there's some that have a lot of sprinkling in it. Oh, it looks like I used that one near ink. Or I used ink near it, I should say. You've got 3 of each pattern. And we're going to use, let's see if I can pick out the ones that we're using today. We're using that one. Is that the one I used? I think so. And we're using this one. And we are using this one. So those are our patterns. I think I have that one wrong though. Yeah, it's white, I think. I guess it doesn't really matter. You'll see it as we go. So these 2, and then this is the other one. For whatever reason, I can't find it in here, but it's in here. It's more of a white background. And then you've got some of that kind of, I don't know exactly what color you want to call that, kind of a bluish, grayish green. And then you've got, well, you'll see. You will see, because we've got some inks that work pretty well with it. And we're going to be using some Distress inks today. We're going to use them on all of the cards. So we're kind of going on a theme today. Okay, so I think I managed to put that paper in with these, the ones that I was just about to ink on. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start out, these are perfectly sized. I cut them to fit onto these are ATC blanks, and you can purchase these in a package. Let me grab one. You can subscribe to the ATC kit of the month, and you get some if you do that. It's a little bit smaller package. I don't know exactly how many come in the package for the ATC kit versus, do they come with 25? No, 12, I mean, Darren.
The paper pad?
The ATC cards. This says 12.
I can look in 1 second.
Sometimes things get reconfigured, so hopefully that's still correct. But when you get the ATC kit, you may not have quite as many.
It says 12 pieces.
Okay, so it is 12 pieces. Okay, so I cut 2 of those, and we're going to line them up on our stick and stamp mat, and we're going to line them up right next to each other, as if they are one piece of paper. So I'm just putting my print back together for a minute. And I really just cut it ahead of time to make it easier to just make things happen fast. Let's see, let's kind of position this about maybe right here. Kind of center it, but I'm just cutting off some of it. And this is the mask that you get, both the mask part and you get the rest of the card. Or I mean, I say card because it's A2 size, but you get the rest of the stencil, which is A2 size. So you can use the stencil a couple of different ways. So we're going to use it as a mask first. And then we're going to take some of our blending tools from Ranger and some of our distress inks. Now the colors that I am using today are Fossilized Amber, Dried Marigold, Lucky Clover, and Shaded Lilac. So these are colors I probably would not have put together, but I kind of love that if you go onto Ranger's website, they have all of their distress inks kind of in families. And so I just kind of followed that, and usually places have tested and tried these things, and it was fun to try something different. So we're going to use all of these crazy colors together, and they are going to be beautiful. So we are going to take our blending tool, and I'm just going to make sure, I just want to grab a piece of blank paper because I just want to make sure that it's not got anything weird going on, because I am doing a lot of blending right into each other. So we're going to take our Fossilized Amber first, and we're going to start at the top. I'm just going to kind of be heavier handed at the top and kind of blend lighter as I go in. Now I'm going to take, and I like to have a pad for each of my my distress inks. You can see I have a little dot that has a little piece of Velcro so I can connect the sponge with it, and it fits into my storage rack just fine. If you're worried about it, you can line your storage rack if you don't want to have the ink get onto it, but it doesn't really bother me. Mine's wood, you can't really tell. It's old. I'm not too worried about it. And then you don't need a new handle for all of them, but I like having several just because I do a lot of ink blending. It's nice to have at least 4, I would say.
Anne-Marie said she wouldn't have thought to put those colors together either.
Yeah, aren't they fun? So this one is called Dried Marigold, and I think this is such a pretty color. It's just a soft and really creamy, kind of creamsicle-y color, actually. It's got just kind of a creamy feel to it. Orange, but really soft orange. And most of this will be broken up between the 2 panels. So each panel won't have all the colors on it, if that makes sense. Okay, so now let's go ahead and work into our Lucky Clover. And, whoops, I have the wrong blender. Here's the right one. I'm gonna actually start a little bit further down and kind of blend upwards, just because it's such a different color. I need to move up a little bit so you can see me better. I'm gonna,
Now it says sherbet, yum.
yeah, it does look like sherbet. Ooh, now I want some. That sounds really good right now. So we will blend that, and we're gonna blend some more, and we're gonna actually spritz it a little bit with water too, which will soften it as well and help in the blending process. And then this is Shaded Lilac. And this is one I should probably test out on my scratch paper. There we go. Okay. So now we're going to take that, and I'm gonna go pretty heavy on the bottom. And the green will probably be our lightest color, and that's okay, because I think the green has the most potential to overpower, and I don't want it to overpower the other colors too much. So now I'm actually gonna take my dried marigold blender and kind of blend that in a little bit more over the green. And I think that's pretty good. So now let's just spritz that really, really lightly. And move all the tools out of the way for a sec. And I just use, this is just a Squeaky clean bottle, which I should have just left the label on, but for whatever reason I took it off, and so it's kind of ugly, but it does the trick. And I like the amount of spritz that it gives. So that's what I use for my spritz bottle. You can get all fancy and buy a fancy one, but I personally like this one. So I've spritzed it really lightly, but I also want some little drops that are maybe a little bigger than others. So I'm going to just kind of flick a little bit on there too. Give it just a second, and you don't want it to be super wet. 2 reasons why. You want the color to stay on there pretty good, and you don't want to saturate your paper too much, especially while it's on your mat, because it will stick to your mat. Because this pattern paper isn't going to be the same as using like Not Your Mama's, right? So now we've got that pretty well on there. I think we can peel off our mask, and we've still got that piece that highlights our paper really well. And let's peel our mat back so we can get our little papers off. It's always best to bend the mat rather than your paper. And we'll kind of let that do its thing for a second. And while we're doing that, we'll just kind of wipe off our mat. So I do have the cleaner for the Squeaky Clean for my matte mist, but you know, this is already wet. Let's look and see what it does first of all. I just got my little microfiber cloth here, and I'm just, look, it comes right off. It's not a big thing, and you don't want to scrub. You want to be really gentle. You don't want to pick at it, but I do have a little paper from when I learned about what happens if you oversaturate your paper. I tried that out last night and found out, yeah, you got to be careful not to saturate it too much. That's what I'm here for, you know? I'm here to take all the bullets for you and make all those mistakes, because 9 times out of 10, I will make those mistakes. It's a public service, really, right? It has nothing to do with the fact that I'm just klutzy. Okay, now I'm going to clean off the...
Gina says hi.
Who did?
Gina says hello there.
Hi, Gina. How are you? Thanks for joining today. Okay, so now these are ready to go for our next card. I think we'll let these dry just a little bit longer. While we're waiting for that, let's actually work on, well, I guess we kind of have to have that. Let's do something else while we're waiting for these to dry all the way. Either that, or I do have some that are dry. Should we just do that? They look the same. Let's just use those. All right. Ta-da, they're dry. All right.
Like a cooking show.
Yeah, it was like a cooking show. So let's go ahead and just get our color blends, our ink blends onto our ATCs. All right, so we're just using some of our tissue tape. I'm gonna move this up a little bit. take our time to get all the corners lined up, hopefully. All right, that was much better. Okay, so now we're going to add these to this black piece. And I need to put something, let me find my little, there it is. Replace the film so that I know I don't lose it, but I need it so I can just see what I'm doing. Okay, so let's add a little bit of this tape so that we can add these to our card base. Well, I guess card panel would be a more accurate description for that. So I just want to kind of center that on the bottom a little bit. And even that one, it looks like isn't quite exactly straight, but we're gonna have to live with it. Okay, and then we will get this other guy on there. And the reason why I put these on the ATC cards was I wanted to give it a little bit more depth.
Close enough.
Thanks, Michelle. It's gonna have to be, huh? It's good exercise for me to not freak out. Just to learn to roll with it. Okay. So we've kind of got those on there now. And then we're going to take, so on this set of dies, it has a lot of potential. You've got all of these different little buds and little, I guess that's the best word, is buds and little leaves you can add. But for our purposes today, I'm mostly just using the skeletons of the flowers. We are going to use some leaves as well. But it's a fun set. You can see you can layer them up as much as you want. But for this one, I think we will just, I kind of just wanted them to look like just kind of stalks of something. And I wanted it to just be more silhouette. So we're just going to add those. We'll use some of our Barely Art glue. Love this stuff, especially when I'm using something a little skinny like this. So I'm just going to put a little dot of glue on the top part and the bottom part, because I'm not really sure exactly where that space is going to be. So we'll just add this right here. Oh, it looks like my son is home. Okay, and now we can do the same thing on the other one. This one I think we can, I don't know if I needed it on that one, but that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything either.
Gina said my Brutus Monroe order just came with my new Barely Art glue tips.
Ooh, Gina, that's nice. I know you got to have a good clear tip for your glue. Okay, so now I think we'll put the sympathy maybe down, maybe right there. I think we'll put it right there. And I think I'll just use the glue for that as well. And this conversation clipping is from this month's Bountiful Blooms box. Right now the conversation clippings are not sold separately, but they are included in the inspiration box, which I'm telling you now, you gotta get it. It's one of my favorite ones so far. Okay, so then we just need to add that. Oh, Darren has put the links up. If you follow the link that Darren added, it has a link to all of the products that I'm using today. Okay, so we're gonna eyeball this to get this pretty close to the center.
Check that birthday bash on the website.
What was that?
Michelle asked you to check out the birthday bash sale.
Michelle, I did. I purchased. One of my favorite things is on sale, and it's these card bases. They're on sale for like $3 something. They're cheap, and I love them. I use them so much. I'm like, I'm totally stocking up on those right now. So I may not have gotten that exactly straight, but we're gonna call it straight enough. Okay? Okay, you know it's bugging me, but I gotta just let it go. Okay. And then we are gonna add just a couple of little doodahs to it so that it's got a little pizzazz. Gotta have your doodahs, right? Okay, so let's use, I've just got these. I cleaned my craft room some more, got it a little bit closer to what I want it to be, and went through and all of my embellishments, except I have my Brutus Monroes pretty much together, and everything else I have kind of color coded. So it made it really easy to just go, oh, black.
Kathy says hi.
Hi, Kathy. Let's do another big one right here. And I think maybe, I don't want to overpower the, I think I would have rather had 2 down here, but this is what we did. So this is what we're going with. I just have to see what it looks like with 2 down here. See if I want to switch anything up. If you haven't noticed, that's how I create. I have to move things around and touch them, and I know lots of people create ahead of time in their head and they're able to do that, and that just isn't how it works for me. I have to touch it and move it, and I do sometimes do that, but it doesn't always work out how I think it's going to.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do with all the Jim Holtz bones and tombstones.
Who said that?
Michelle.
Michelle. It sounds like you could make like a cemetery diorama or something. I'm not sure, but knowing you, you will come up with something completely clever.
Gina said, oh my gosh, so many good things on sale.
There are tons. There's so much from the spring release on there. I was surprised by that. That's a great opportunity. If you've had your eye on some of the spring items, check it out, because there are a ton of them on sale. In fact, you guys know I have a special place in my heart for the Fabulous Florals dies, and I saw those on there. Okay, we'll call this one good. All right, so now let's do a couple more, and the other ones I think will go a little quicker. So this one, we're going to use the die, the stencil. Oh, I have to take the thing off. Let me get these out of the way, because you know what? I will spill them. You know I will.
So then you get a free birthday stamp.
You do get a free birthday stamp, and it's a really cute stamp. I like it a lot. Okay, so we are going to take off our film again, and we're going to use our stencil the opposite way now. So we're going to center this on here a little bit, or at least kind of center it. It's come up just a little bit, it looks like. Okay. I am sure the measuring police would just be annoyed with the way that I don't measure. Okay, so I'm just going to take my brush again and my shaded lilac. And we are just going to go over the center part now. And I love that we can still see our pattern, but we still get a different effect. We're just gonna highlight, bring out that kind of more purple hues. This kind of matches my wall, huh? Okay, so we're just going through, and I think I used way more ink than I needed, but you know what? That's okay. Now, I magically have one that's dry, so that's good news. And look how simple. This is gonna just make our card that much faster. And it just adds a little interest. So I'm gonna move my mat for a second. I'll put it with the clear film so I don't lose that. And let me grab a few more things. So for this one, we're gonna use this little guy. I think this one's my favorite die in that set. I think it's just cute. And we'll take this one because it's all the way dry. We won't have to wait for it. And we're kind of messing around with it. I had like the basic gist of what I was gonna do, but I just kind of left it open a little bit to just mess around. So hope that's okay with you guys. I did pull these because I thought this flower might look kind of pretty with that. We're kind of going with those two colors. Let's go with them if we're going to. Now this cardstock is called Salem, and it is a Brutus Monroe cardstock that you can find on the site. Let's just go ahead and use some of our tissue tape on that. You know I like to mat everything. All right, I am doing a lot of talking. I need to do a little bit more engaging, I think. Sorry, I'm kind of hyper and running my mouth. Tell me what you guys are doing this weekend, for if you guys are doing something special for Easter, spring break. Did you buy yourself something special for your own Easter basket? Benji is going to actually speak in church, so I'm like, okay, well, I think that's pretty cool. Pretty excited to see him do that. And I think it calls for something new to wear for him and me both. My church clothes, I'm telling you. We spent so much time during the pandemic doing church at home that my church clothes are just kind of sad and tired. I need some new ones. I've had the same ones for way too long. When I was a little girl, you guys can tell me if your moms did this, but my mom used to make a big deal out of Easter Sunday as far as church clothes go. We always got a new Easter dress, and we did the whole thing with like white gloves and a little fancy hat. You don't see that anymore. That definitely ages me, but how fun. What a fun memory. Am I missing any comments, Darren?
Anne-Marie said she liked that you got
Well,
explain what you're doing or not doing, so.
Oh, I'm glad, Anne-Marie. I just don't want to miss any.
Said our church clothes don't fit.
Anne-Marie, there's more truth to that for myself than I care to admit. But, you know, there it is. I think we can all just kind of say, okay, it's been rough. Let's readjust and reconfigure. That's kind of my whole life, though. I've struggled my whole life with my weight, darn it. But you know, I'll take my struggle over some other struggles that are out there, right? Okay, I wonder if that bow is a little big. Let's see once we get the flower. We put the flower there.
Michelle says, my niece is sleeping over tomorrow night and 2 of my days off are planned. Art projects, fishing, coloring eggs.
Oh.
Maybe a trip to Brutus Monroe.
That sounds fun.
A busy 2 days.
That is a busy 2 days. Oh, that sounds like fun 2 days though. Yeah, I'm not liking that bow, guys. I think it's a little too big. We don't want the bow to be the main focus of the card. I like me a big bow, and I like ribbon a lot, but sometimes you gotta just look at it and decide if you're forcing it. Even when you're live, I think.
Like big bows and I cannot lie.
That's right, I like big bows and I cannot lie. Wonder how that would work. Forgive me, as I really thought that would be okay. We may even go with twine on that just to make sure that we don't overpower it. Oh, I found some. Good. Everything is easier to get to in my room now. I have to say, I'm liking it. Okay, let's try this ribbon first, because I do want ribbon.
Michelle asked, where do these flowers come from?
Michelle, to be honest with you, they came from my stash. I have no idea. They came from the purple bin. That's as much as I know on that. And they could be a decade old for all I know. I have some stuff in my stash that I've had there for a long time. Some of it might even be older than Benji. Isn't it funny? Well, in some stuff it's like, I do try to purge my stamp room every once in a while, you know, at least once a year, maybe twice. But yeah, there are some things that I just have had forever. And you just keep saying, oh, I'll use that sometime. Well, sometimes you will, and sometimes it's time to just let it go. I will say that I cleaned out my stamp stash a little bit when I moved here. And it was kind of fun because I met this cute girl who was just starting to do card making. So I gave her a very good deal. And the more she gets into card making, the more she will understand what a good deal she got. Okay. Let's see. But it worked out good for both of us because I needed my room space. And it was easier to part with knowing that it was going to somebody who was so excited about it and was going to use it. Okay, I like that better. See? Just changing that ribbon size made a huge difference. So now we're just going to add a little bit of our Barely Art glue. And I kind of like the top to be a little bit loose. I don't want it to be just flat on the card. So I'm just mostly doing the stems. And that gives me a little leeway in case I need to move anything, because you know me and you know that's probably a possibility. Yeah, I like that. And now we can just add this to our card base. Let's see if we've got, see if we think we need them. I don't know, I kind of like it. What do you guys think? Too much, or do you think that it looks... I think... You can't see it over there.
Gina says she's trying to wake up from a nap. She's going to watch the replay.
Oh, Tina, that sounds nice.
Kathy says she likes it.
I like it with them too, but I'm thinking I'm going to just do 2, which is like kind of defying the rules of
Gina asked what
design.
color is that cardstock and flower. It's gorgeous.
Oh, the cardstock is Salem. And the flower, we were just saying, I have no idea. It came from my purple bin, from my stash, and I have no idea. Sorry. I know I've had it a long time. Okay, so we've got that. We've got these 2 cards, and I think we have enough time. We could maybe get the other one going if I just show you what I did. And I'm not going to do the blending. I'll just tell you what I did on that part so we can save just a little bit of time. This one's a little faster. So this time we're using this paper. This kind of green color, this is from my stash. So I didn't have a Brutus Monroe color, just exactly that color. I don't have every single Brutus Monroe color, so I'm not sure if there is one, but that's that color. There might be, but I smeared this a little, but it's not going to matter for our design. All this was I took our stencil, if I can find it. There it is. Okay, I took the stencil and I kept the center lighter. I didn't even go all the way to the center. And I just took a blending brush and the pigment ink, and I just went heavily across the, more heavily across the outer rim, and then just softened it up a little bit. But you do have to be a little bit careful if you do this method, because it does kind of pull at the edges. I did just re-ink my stamp pad when I did it, so that is probably why.
Kelly says hello.
Kelly?
Yeah.
Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Sorry.
What was that?
Said she's a little late.
Oh, Kelly.
Sorry.
You know what? You are all good. That is just nice of you to come and join us. I'm thinking that that's pretty straight. Okay. So I think we can go ahead and just stick this on. Let's just get this out of the way. I always like to get the layers going so that I have less pieces kicking around my table. And then this yellow color is called Harvest. That is a Brutus Monroe color. It's a really pretty golden yellow. It's just rich and pretty. These colors are a little more in the fall. We went.
It says love these colors together.
Kelly, aren't they fun? I like them too. I was saying that it's not something I would tend to go to myself naturally, but I went and just kind of looked at the Distress Inks on their website. They have like a chart on Ranger's website to get all of the... It's actually to print labels for your Distress Inks, but it has them kind of in color families. So I thought, oh, I'm going to try this out. And I was following the colors in our Speckled spring paper.
Tamitha says hi.
Hi, Tamitha. How are you doing? Okay, so I usually have a little bit bigger of a border, because I usually go like a 1/4 inch, but on this one, I wanted to show as much of our Speckled spring paper as I could. So we've got a little bit smaller mat on this one. And then we're just going to add this little guy.
Tamitha, shh, she's at work.
I will never tell, Tamitha. I'm glad you joined me even from work. Just a reminder to check out the birthday bash sale. The sale in honor of Christopher Allen's birthday. And there are incredible deals on there on the Brutus Monroe site right now. Okay, let's kind of get that lined up at the top. Or at least pretty close. Okay, so now we're just going to arrange some of these little leaves from our Fancy Foliage die set. We're just going to kind of follow the side of our circle a little bit. We'll cover up our smudges. which is kind of, I just kind of want it to look like it's kind of blowing up. Does that make sense? And then, yeah, I think that'll work. I'm just going to use some foam.
Good on the smart, that white pigment stays wet longer.
It does definitely stay wet. The pigment ink does stay wet longer. That is true. I think we need to add a little bit of foam in there so we can get a little bit more dimension in there too. And we'll get this last little guy. And then I think we'll place our sentiment about right there. Let me just put my little pin in while I remember. Let's see, I've got some of these clear acrylic gems. I'm not sure if we need the ribbon or not. That's a thinker. What do you guys think? Kind of a last chance here. Well, I'll tell you what. On Friday, or I mean on Saturday, or Sunday. On Sunday, when you see it posted, you'll know if I decided to keep the ribbon on there. But we are out of time, so I think I will just not put that on there, and I'll look at it for a little while and see if I have a different ribbon, because I'm not completely sold on that ribbon. But let's look at all of the cards that we made using our Fancy Foliage dies, our Distress Inks, our Simple Blends Circle, and our Bountiful Blooms conversation clipping. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had so much fun creating these cards, and I am excited to create something new with you next week. Have a great Easter, and I hope you all are safe and enjoy your families. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.